Magic is still magic, even if it's monotoned. Here's your look at the Beast Kingdom DAH-050SP Classic Mickey Mouse black and white version. The Entertainment Experience brand's DAH Dynamic Action Hero series of highly articulated action figures is bringing to life an iconic figure, taking him back to his roots. With the DAH-050SP Disney Mickey Classic, a retro black and white design straight from the early days of animated cinema, with 18 points of articulation and a real retro feel, this classical Mickey figure is one to celebrate the nearly 1 century we have spent being taken to fantastical worlds with the magical mouse. Now all we really need is a steamboat. Just though, before we get a closer look at the Disney DAH-050SP Classic Mickey Mouse, I'd like to thank the folks over at Beast Kingdom that provided the sample we could have a look at. Good news though is if you guys are interested and would like to get this one for yourself, it's available right now over on their site for $59.99. The tape measure first is going to tell us that the mouse stands at 7.5 inches in height, or the Magic Kingdom's mascot is going to stand at 19 centimeters tall. And speaking of the Magic Kingdom, we have visited the Magic Kingdom before, in that we also had a look, of course, at the Beast Kingdom Donald Duck. The thing right away you'll notice is that the two mascots are very different in size. That really, I feel like Donald Duck would be the right size proportionally if you're looking at the size of the head and you're looking at the size of the body. That then you're looking at Mickey Mouse, I just feel, first of all, that the figure not only is too tall, but I feel like the proportions of his body maybe don't match the size that the mouse should be in the first place. A pleasant surprise, though, I did find getting Mickey out of the packaging, that just above the figure there was actually this cardboard insert that shows basically all of Mickey through the years, starting first with his earliest conception, through Steamboat Willie Land, and of course through the stages of not only black and white, but then in color. Love that they included this. All of them are also done in sketches, which works really well for the character. Thing unfortunately about this, though, is it also proves to be one reminder of the character's design. Not that he has large ears, not that he has a nose, but Mickey Mouse was also always known for having one of these, a tail. And yet, though, Beast Kingdom, not sure why, chose to omit the tail altogether in the release of theirs. Tail would have just simply come out right here, but again, for reasons unknown, they chose not to include the tail. Not really sure why. What they did include was a series of interchangeable hands, a total of 8 if you count the ones on the ends of his forearms. The figure, first of all, comes included with closed fists. Those are always good. The figure also as well comes included with relaxed hands. And by the way, BTW, the figure also already has gripping hands in the ends of his forearms, but he comes with relaxed hands, and then he also comes as well with pointing hands. These hands, by the way, can be swapped out by just simply taking the figure. Grab the hand that you want to use. I did notice, though, the first couple of times I was trying to remove the hands, it took a lot of effort. I had to heat, in fact, with a hairdryer just to kind of soften up the plastic. The hand finally, though, gave way. And let's take the hand that we want to use, whether you're in the Magic Kingdom or not. You want to make sure thumbs always go in. And you just basically wiggle it back onto the provided post, just like that. So now Mickey Mouse does have himself a pointing hand. He does also have, though, an interchangeable head sculpt. And I sort of say that with some hesitation because if you're looking at the heads that he has, getting him out of the packaging immediately, he gets himself, obviously, the regular standard Mickey Mouse eyes, but he gets himself a smiling face. What he gets, though, as an alternative is this head sculpt here, that the eyes, the ears, and everything above looks pretty much the same. The only thing that's really different is the mouth. Now, removing the head sculpt, I had a real hard time doing this. I noticed every time that I was trying to remove things, other things end up coming off. For all intents and purposes, really, the ball joint and then the socket that the ball joint attaches onto in the neck should be two things that stay behind in the body. This has happened a couple of times, though, again, popping off the head. And then the more I looked at this, the more I wonder, some of the things that Beast Kingdom is known for doing in the past is that they have removable face plates. I wondered, though, if something was similar here to Mickey Mouse, and sure enough it was. If you take the front of his face, more so his mouth, and you slide it down, you can see that it slots in the top here, and there's actually a few little notches here down below that actually fit around these areas here. You could then remove this and just put this off to the side. I'm going to do the same thing with the head that he has right now. Just remove it. You don't even really have to keep the head on. Well, you don't have to take the head off in order to do this. And just to show you guys, though, if to look at these, they look identical to one another. The same placement of eyes, the same placement of ears. It then begs the question, really, why would they included two of the heads that are identical to one another when the simple fix, the easiest fix, would have just been to have removable mouthpieces? So it's just, again, like if you're having hard times and you end up getting this figure for yourself, you don't even have to worry about getting the heads off at all. In fact, you just only have to replace the face plates. And again, you're just going to see the slots. Those will fit right in there. And basically, you just fit the mouth in place. So then we went from, well, let me just make sure I grab the right head sculpt. This is the one that we started with. So we're going to pull this off, replace it with the one that we wanted to change it to. And again, showing you guys the differences between the two. So again, you've got a smiling face for Mickey, and now you've got a smiling face that now has an included tongue. Just would have made more sense, I feel, to change out only just the mouthpieces. And if anything, if they wanted to still include an alternate head sculpt like this, for example, which seems a little weird not having a mouth below, let's just attach that. If they wanted to include two heads that, for all intents and purposes, other than this part here, are identical to one another, I feel like maybe the secondary head probably could have included the Steamboat Willie hats. Then you would have a more justified reason as to why you would want to even swap the heads out in the first place. Let's put the head to the side here and getting a closer look at Mickey Mouse. All in all, though, I like the look of Mickey. There are a few little things that I would say that, from a standpoint of the character's design, I feel like he's a little over-proportioned. If, again, you're looking at, the source material, which I guess the closest thing that we have for the source material is the sketched image here on the front. If you look at really the way that Mickey is, Mickey has, and always has had, a really large head. A small, like, mid-abdomen area, mid-torso area, very large bottoms, and scrawny little short legs and arms. The thing about it, though, is looking at the one that we get here from Beast Kingdom, I feel like maybe perhaps, first of all, his torso is way too long. If you're looking at Mickey, and then you're looking at his torso probably should only be about that wide. About that wide. It shouldn't be as wide as it is. It does already throw off the proportions, I feel, for the figure. The head sculpt isn't so much a bad thing, but when you take a head like this and you're putting on a body that's already long like this, it ends up making Mickey Mouse look a lot taller than what I feel he really should be. Maybe as well for also the arms. Maybe not as much necessarily for the tops of his arms, but I feel like for his forearms, they probably could have been a little bit shorter. But I think the one thing that's thrown me off is not only the torso, but the length of his legs as well. If they had only, again, shortened the legs and made them maybe about that long instead of that long, I think, again, you would have a Mickey Mouse that looks a little bit more scaled in size the way he normally is. Although, all things aside, though, I do like the coloring that they chose for Mickey Mouse. I've always been a big fan of the classic black and white Mickey Mouse, as opposed to one a little bit later on that he has, actually, again, the eyes with the pupils. This is basically just the longer, like, black pupils that Mickey Mouse would have had in the earlier days. It looks good, though. The coloring isn't quite matching, though, so you can see, like, with the eyes and the mouth, they aren't quite 100% the exact same gray. But again, like with Mickey Mouse back in the day, again, he would have had, like, depending on where you really look at Mickey Mouse from the original source material, Mickey Mouse a lot of times usually would have had the top of his eyes kind of blending right into his mouth. And then, of course, you would just have the pupils in front of it. Still like the head sculpt. I love the fact that they approach this in a black and white. It's black and white everywhere, too. So his primary body color, obviously, is the black. And, of course, you've got now, instead of white gloves, they've given him kind of an off-white glove. Lower dark gray kind of trunks with, of course, the notable spots that he has on the front. Spots on the back. Again, no tail. Not sure why they left the tail off. And, of course, Mickey Mouse's classic boots. Even on the underside, you can see as well, it does say Disney. It's a good-looking figure, but again, the thing that throws me off is really, again, just the sizing of Mickey Mouse. Everything for really, I feel, from like the neck down should be shorter and kind of shrunk down in size. So then it would make his head even bigger, as Mickey Mouse really would have been in the cartoon. For the figure's articulation, though, the head's going to be on a ball joint, so it rotates quite freely. It looks down, it looks up. You can also move it back and forth as well. As for his arms, more so as his shoulders, they hinge out at probably about a 90-degree angle bend. You can take the arms and rotate them all the way around. Couldn't help but notice, if you see on this arm right here, this arm's not so bad. You can see it's got a clean joint. I've got this little bit of almost burring. You can see there's a little bit of kind of left behind plastic, I'm guessing from the way it came out of the mold. It's only noticeable here on this one side. The other side is completely clean. It doesn't necessarily limit the articulation on the character, but I did notice, though, getting him out of the packaging, he's got, like, again, just a little bit of left behind residual of the plastic. The figure does have a bend in the elbow. The arms rotate back and forth, and the hands do rotate all the way around, also hinging back and forth there, too. Mickey does have an upper torso ball joint. And the only unfortunate problem about using a ball joint like this too is that you can see it kind of has scuffed the bottom half of his belly. This is likely probably because of the way it's sitting inside the trunks like this, but it's left this residue, and I keep wanting to kind of wipe this off. And I think if I take myself a cloth, I don't want to take myself any like very diluted rubbing alcohol and see if I can maybe take the stain off. I really don't want to damage though the actual black plastic, but you can see like there's a little bit of rub left behind here, probably from the way it was sitting inside the trunks like this. Now again, with the body, if you have the body back like this, it makes them look even longer. If you bring them a little bit further forward, not that it reduces it by much, but it just gives them just a little bit more shortness here. The legs do forward and back, have forward and back movement. You can split them out as well. Figure does have also as well a hinge in the knee. The thing about the knee though is that you want to make sure you've got it bent the right way. Initially I had the knee bent forward like this, so if you're looking at it, the hinge is right now over here. So depending on where you rotate, that will dictate whereabouts that bends on the figure. If you want to have it, say for example this way, so again the figure's legs are, I want to make sure I've got this facing the right way. If you have it facing obviously the right way, you can see there's the hinge right there, so that's the part of the knee that's going to bend. You want to have it further, you want to have it forward, of course that's going to have to twist around. If you want to have it where the knee bends back, you're going to have to make sure you twist this around as well. You can twist this back. Again, is the bend in the knee there? I think we've almost got it. Let's just bring it back a little bit more. And then of course he does have the articulation where it counts in his ankles. The ankles move back and forth, up and down, very large, of course, clown-sized shoes that Mickey Mouse has always had. All in all, though, I like the look of the figure. I wish I could have liked the figure more, though. There are a few little things that, from a design standpoint, I would have changed myself. Again, I'm not sure why specifically they made the body as long as it is. Because, again, like if you're comparing him, say, with the likes of Donald Duck, let me just grab him off to the side here, bring him back in Donald Duck. I feel like Donald Duck, as we've looked at him before, also from Beast Kingdom, sort of, I felt, set the standard, at least in my mind, of how big these characters should have really been. Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse are roughly about the same size to one another. Goofy, you could justify that Goofy would be a taller character, but to go Mickey and looking at Donald, the characters I feel should be more in line with one another. Donald had, I felt, the proper proportions. The black and white Mickey Mouse, though, seems a little off. In addition to Beast Kingdom producing a black and white classic Mickey Mouse, the company has also put out a Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey. Because I didn't have that figure, I wanted to see what it looked like online. And I was lucky to find an image that had black and white Mickey Mouse standing next to Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, and wouldn't you know it, Beast Kingdom has used the same body with both releases. I think, though, it works better with Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, because if you remember that animated movie, Mickey seemed a little bit more taller than a regular short Mickey Mouse cartoon. And also, as well, his body is being hidden underneath that sorcerer's robe. If you take the robe off and then you give it to black and white Mickey, I think that's where you start to see there's a differences in his proportions. Mickey Mouse, from at least his earlier days, would have had a much more shorter body, certainly shorter in the torso, much shorter in the legs as well. And while maybe the body may have worked with Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, I feel like they probably should have maybe used a different body for classic Mickey Mouse instead. Now, when it comes to his accessories, the figure comes included with 8 swappable hands. I've chose to swap out only one of the hands in the review, but it's very easy to do. You may have to, though, take a hairdryer just to soften up the plastic, because the first time you do it, you'll notice that the hands are fairly hard to remove from the pegs. The head is also something that's also a very difficult thing to remove on the figure. The thing about it, though, is that you don't even really need to remove it anyways. The mouth is really the only thing that's changed between the two head sculpts, and it so happens that the mouth is also the same thing that can be removed and swapped around. If they were to include 2 head sculpts that for all intents and purposes are the same except for the faces, then I feel like to justify why you would want to swap the heads out, maybe if sticking with the idea of black and white, they should have given one of the head sculpts the Steamboat Willie hat. What do you guys think of this figure? Let me know down below in the comment section. Have you guys had the chance to pick up the classic Mickey Mouse? If not, if this is a figure that you guys could see yourselves wanting. This, by the way, again, is available over on Beast Kingdom's website for $59.99. I'd like to thank once again the folks over at Beast Kingdom that provided the sample of the DAH-050SP, the classic black and white Mickey Mouse. If you guys did enjoy this video, want to throw it a like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing and would like to stick around for more, please, if you can, make sure you hit that subscribe and certainly as well turn on that bell. But the most important thing is that you're coming back regularly, because while we have wrapped up the review right now for Mickey Mouse, there will be more videos coming your way. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.